We go to the hotline now and catch up with Andy Hodges. HitThatLine.com. Everything you need about Razorback Training Camp is there. Kendall Briles, KJ Jefferson with the media today. Those videos are up there on HitThatLine.com. Andy, good afternoon.
How you guys doing today?
And we're doing all right. Was it weird to hear so much talk about a man's weight today in the press conferences?
Yeah, it really kind of was, and the bottom line was I don't think they're really too worried about that right now. I think Kendall kind of let the cat out of the bag when he said, we're trying to beat Rice now.
Yeah.
So they have started preparations for Rice, which I know is going to bother some fans because they think they should be preparing for Texas in week 2 right now. But if they don't beat Rice, the Texas game really doesn't matter. And I think he's wanting to make a statement in that first game. And KJ's weight, 245 to 235 when you're his age and you're that tall, what difference is 10 pounds going to make?
Right.
Exactly. I mean, if you can wear it well, you wear it well. Yeah. I don't think it makes much of a difference. We've talked kind of all week that they've shoved their chips to the middle of the table with KJ. Doesn't matter if he can weigh 345. I mean, they're going to roll with him.
Yeah, that was the fact that Kendall was kind of, Malik Hornsby is the obvious number 2, and after that, it's just going to be who's up next. It's going to look like the Chad Morris quarterback days. If something, you like that reference?
Not really, no.
But I mean, if KJ can't do it, it's going to be interesting if KJ can't do it. I have no reason to think he can't. I have no reason to think he won't. So there are more. Ruskin and I say this all the time, and we have for years. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
At this point in camp, we ain't got a clue what they're going to do when the lights come on, the band starts playing, and the fans are all there yelling. We don't have a clue.
Exactly. And it's tomorrow is another one of these rumored scrimmages because that's basically what it is. It's here's what we want you to know happened in the scrimmage today that we want you to talk about, right?
Yeah, we have to go with what the coaches and the players tell us. And I have a feeling they're well prepped before they come into the media room.
Yeah, of course.
On what they can say and what they can't. If a player doesn't show up, we're not allowed now to speculate on why he just was absent that day. As for why, who knows? He could have had a leg amputated for all we know. And, until we get the official word from somebody, we're not even supposed to speculate on that, I guess.
So let's talk about the important questions. I mean, I must have seen this, and we haven't talked to you since camp started. Do they look like an SEC football team? These are the questions that people want to know about. Are they in a 3 or a 4-man front?
God. They are more muscular. Jamil Walker is definitely different on the strength and conditioning than his predecessor, in that the previous coaching staff wanted speed. This staff wants bulk. They want size. Whether that slows them down or not, who knows? Who knows if the coaches can make that work out? And by the way, size is not always the biggest thing, because I was in Dallas covering the Dallas Cowboys when Jimmy Johnson won 2 Super Bowls with an entire defense that was ranked number 1 in the NFL, and they were 20 pounds a man lighter than every other defense in the league, because Jimmy didn't care what size you were. It was about how fast you were. Now, you had to be good and get to the right spot, get there, and get the guy on the ground. So, that can go both ways, but we'll see how this works. Sam Pittman wants big guys that can play. Okay, we've seen that approach before. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. We won't know until November.
The best player in college football last year was 6'1", 170.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Devontae Smith's pretty good.
Yeah. Talking with Andy Hodges from hitthatline.com here on Ruskin and Zach. This probably it gets filed into the we don't know what we don't know file, but I believe right now that 1 through 22, Arkansas, they could probably get to a bowl game. 1 through 44, they're not quite ready to they're not ready to take the leap forward that some fans expect them to take this season.
I won't argue with that because I don't think across the entire SEC, if any team could play all 22 players from beginning to end and keep them fresh and not have anybody pass out, I don't know that there's 7 points of difference from the top of the league to the bottom. The difference is, do you have to play those guys more than 3 plays in a row, where Alabama looks like a hockey team with a line change, and you see the entire line, a new line coming out. And, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat that, and that's why depth is so important. You're exactly right, 44. You've got to have 44 good players to win games and consistently reach bowl games in the SEC. Problem with Arkansas, after you got past about, in my opinion, number 15 the last few years, there was a serious drop-off in talent level.
I was listening to Gene Chizik on the SEC Network a couple of days ago, and he was talking about Alabama, and he was talking about them in national terms with teams like Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, all the teams that have played them in the playoffs. And I want to get kind of your perspective as it pertains to Arkansas. But what his point was, he said the top teams in the country have closed the gap on Alabama at the lines of scrimmage. All those teams have great defensive line. Well, hang on,
Okay.
just stay with me. All those teams have great offensive lines. They all have great defensive lines. Where Alabama has separated themselves further from those teams is on the outside, whether it's their corners, their safeties, their wide receivers. He thinks that's the biggest area now where teams have got to catch up. As far as Arkansas goes, are they closing the gap on the top half of this league, at least at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, but the problem is they're all seniors, and they're going to be gone after this year. That's the other side of the coin. All those super seniors and stuff are great for this year. What are you going to do next year? Who's going to be the senior leadership? And we've seen you cannot, in the SEC, come in with 5 freshmen. I don't care if you've got 5 5-stars across the front of the line. You're not going to win a lot of games with 5 freshmen across that front line. As for closing the gap on Alabama, I don't see it. I mean, I didn't see, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ohio State wasn't making much headway against Alabama in the national championship game at the line of scrimmage.
But again,
I didn't see
the
it.
difference was Devontae Smith and Waddle and that group.
I maybe what he's talking about, and this, hold your ears, Zach, but
Okay.
in that Notre Dame-Bama game like 10 years ago, I mean, Notre Dame was just getting
They weren't ready.
blown off the ball. Now, there's a little bit more resistance when teams go against Alabama. They're still the best team in the sport, and right there with Clemson, I would think, but maybe there's a little bit more resistance up front than there was when they steamrolled the Fighting Irish a few years ago.
Wow.
Well, they did. I mean, they were on skates
Okay,
out there.
So I was on the floor of the Orange Bowl for that game.
Yeah.
The only guy in Notre Dame's football team, there were 2 of them. There were 2 guys that looked like they could play for Alabama, were Zach Martin, who plays now for the Dallas Cowboys, and Gunnar Kiel, the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That was it. Now, I mean, the team that they sent out last
Mike Golick Jr. didn't look like
not a chance. Not a chance. But and leave them out of the conversation. But I think Ohio State's as good as Alabama is up front. The guys like Devontae Smith, Mac Jones,
Yeah,
their
that's
skilled
the
people have gotten so good that the rest of the country's got to catch up again.
Yeah, I mean, Saban has adapted. I mean, I've had this argument with old school coaches that are shaking their head that Alabama's still throwing the ball, because I told them years ago, I said, Saban's going to adapt and do whatever he has to win football games. And they kept telling me, well, he'll never pass the ball. I mean, sooner or later they're going to catch up with him, and that running game will get shut down, and he's not going to win games. I said, Saban doesn't impress me as exactly being a stark idiot. And he's going to do whatever he has to win ball games. I mean, I heard Bear Bryant say one time, if he thought he could win a ball game without ever having to run the ball, he never would run the ball. He would pass it every down. But you have to be able to run the ball. And I think Saban is a lot along those same lines. He's going to do whatever he has to. Now, obviously, if you can line up against the team and do whatever you want to, he's going to run the ball 3 out of 4 times. It's the safest way to go. Reduce the risk of the most people getting injured. And that's what he's going to do, just line up and beat the daylights out of somebody. But he's going to do what he has to, and the rules have dictated passing now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's completely different than it was 10 years ago. There's more zone blocking along the line of scrimmage than we used to see. You don't just see linemen trying to power up and just run over somebody anymore much.
Yeah.
You'll occasionally see it, but you just don't see that a lot. And the way the rules are, you can't hit the quarterback anymore. He just might as well wear a bikini back there because you can't touch him. I mean, the receivers are doing everything but, waving a flag. They might as well give them a flag so the quarterback doesn't even really have to see him. He can throw for the flag. You can't interfere with them. There's no I don't understand pass interference anymore. I have no idea what constitutes pass interference. I guess they could call it every play. I have no idea what constitutes holding, because when I was playing football in high school, you could not extend your arms or they would call holding. Now they extend the arms on every play. And it's a much more offensive-friendly game because offense is what people like to watch on television. That's what they like to watch in person. I don't know what kind of viewership a national championship game that ended in a 3-2 score like Auburn and Mississippi State played in 2008. I don't know what kind of viewership that would get now. People would be turning off the TV in droves.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. Andy Hodges, hitthatline.com with us here on Ruskin and Zach.
Hey, who are the Cowboys going to take at quarterback next year after Dak retires?
Who's coming out?
Sam Howell, Spencer Rattler.
There'll be who?
Sam Howell from North Carolina.
Is Rattler eligible?
He'll be draft eligible.
God knows. I mean, Jerry still has final say on
who are they going to trade. They got to trade for somebody this year because they're not winning 5 games with Danucci and whoever.
What's Andy
Garrett
Dalton
Gilbert?
Doing?
Well, he's in Chicago right now, not doing anything.
He's about to get replaced.
Yeah. Make that deal. They have no safety net there. So if Dak,
the Cowboys are working without a net. If Dak goes down, they're going to be. Who knows? Johnny Manziel might be there. I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Personnel decisions since 1989. I flip a coin. I have no idea what's going to happen because I remember in 1991, if you told me Charles Haley would be playing for Jimmy Johnson with the Dallas Cowboys, I would have told you to go to the psychiatric ward because you were insane. Well, look up, there he is.
Yeah.
With all of his issues that were undiagnosed at the time. I have no idea what they're going to do if Dak Prescott goes down. And, I mean, has there been some news today? I hadn't heard anything about it today. Have they updated another?
Well, the headline I saw is he's not going to be 100% for the opener against Tampa Bay. But he can still play. He just won't be at 100%. So there's
it must not be something he can aggravate and make worse by playing, because I can guarantee you neither his agent or Jerry Jones wants to take the risk of him aggravating an injury
No.
and having that lawsuit to deal with.
Yeah. Well, they got to have some kind of insurance policy here. Go get somebody, because I mean,
No, they don't. They're the Dallas Cowboys.
they're going to go 3-14 with Ben DiNucci as a quarterback for this season. All right, Andy, we got to run. Thank you so much, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
Andy Hodges, read his stuff, see his work, hitthatline.com. Your drive home, powered by Mr. Sparky here on Ruskin and Zach on ESPN Arkansas.